Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Hello. How's everybody? What's happening? Do you know what? I really had hoped that this week we would have like lots of different lists to look at as opposed to everybody submitting Liberator Assault Group. Spoiler, we have a lot of Liberator Assault Group tonight. I mean, it probably is no surprise. The Grotmist detachments were kind of middle of the road, I would say. Anyway, good evening, everybody. How are you all? Nice to see you. This is the last live show for this year. After tonight, there won't be a show for 2 weeks. So, if you are submitting a list after the show, then just be aware that there's no show for a couple of weeks. As long as there's a 1,000-point list among them, I'm golden. I don't think there is a 1,000-point list, but there has been plenty 1,000-point lists on previous episodes of the show. The show is on the Blood Angels Commander page as like a playlist, right? Like if you go over to bloodangelscommander.com and you click playlists, there is like a playlist somewhere here. There should be. The Blood Angels Army List show, that's the one you want. And that's got every episode, all 179 episodes apparently on the playlist. I'll put it in chat if you need to bookmark it or you want to favorite the playlist. Playlists are not the easiest thing sometimes to get to on YouTube, but there is a playlist with every episode. Yeah, crazy. 179 shows tonight. But yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you all have a good one. Let's get into some army lists. And we're going to start by looking at an Angelic inheritors list. And the more I've seen about this the last few days, I must admit, the less and less inclined I am to want to play Angelic inheritors. But some people are playing it and some people are enjoying it. So if you're enjoying it and you're playing it, more power to it. We'll cover it. And this is a list created by Jack over from Art of War. If you guys are aware, Art of War are a very big Warhammer channel. Jack won the LVO with Blood Angels a couple of years ago now. But, you know, so it's hard for me to criticize Jack in any way, shape, or form, because he's obviously done a lot more things, a lot more bigger wins than me with Blood Angels. But personally, I just, like, I look at the list and I don't know if I like it all that much. So it's Mephiston, Dante, the Sanguiner. Mephiston and the Sanguiner obviously get a lot of bonuses depending on, you know, which of the inheritors rules that you pick. When we were looking at that on Friday night, the two were either like shoot, charge, in a turn you fell back, reroll hits of 1 and wounds of 1, or reroll advance and charges. So I think basically Carmine Wrath is on everybody's list, and then you pick probably their Appointed Hour or Sanguinier Grace, right? And bear in mind, this only works on units that are basically either characters or led by characters. So you're going to need a crap load of characters, and this is what this has got, right? Captain with a jump pack with a relic weapon and hand flamer, another captain with a jump pack with a relic hand flamer, 2 Librarian and Phobos armor, and Inquisitor Draxus. Now, like, the first thing I do when I see a list like that was, like, I just added up all the points. And I was like, oh my god, it's like 700 and some points in characters, right? Because Dante, Mephiston, and the Sanguiner are like 405 combined. Add on another 190 plus 140. So that's about 730. Actually, this might be over 800 points in characters. I was trying to do the math in my head, and I was like, I do not like Blood Angels with 800 points of characters. I'm sorry, I just don't like it. I just don't think characters give enough scoring and killing power to be worth 830 points of characters. That's what this is. To me, it seems absolutely madness. Because then what you're left with is a couple of units of intercessors. Alright, cool. They've got like a good number of strength 4 shots. It's not that exciting. You get 2 squads of Reavers. Well, Reavers are not really that durable. Again, it's strength 4. AP1, maybe a little bit more exciting than intercessors. Well, do you know what? Intercessors are AP1 as well. So realistically, not that exciting to me either. 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Oh, let me 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, all 3s. So Dante will lead one, a captain with a jump pack will lead one, captain with a jump pack will lead another one. Some scouts, and then 3 ballistas dreadnoughts. So I mean, on the plus side, I think every squad is led by a character. So every squad gets the bonus from the Angelic... Goodness me, what's the name of the detachment? Angelic Inheritors. So every character gets that. You've got 3 ballistas dreadnoughts. We've talked before about 3 ballistas dreadnoughts being a fine addition to the army for 390 points. But you're asking an awful lot, I feel like, of 3 3-man squads of Sanguinary Guard and like Reavers and Intercessors with strength 4. Well, they're not killing anything above like... They're not killing anything above T7 pretty much, right? Because they're only wounding on 6s. Maybe you can use your strat on them to give them lance or something. But yeah, so this was apparently built by Jack. And what did he say? This list isn't mine, it's made by Jack. It's currently building off what was posted to the Ark of War's membership areas. I'm not a member of Art of War, so always appreciate when someone shares some of this stuff with me. The weapons on the scouts were not listed, but I left them as default. What is the scouts' weapons? It's minor. I mean, it's like, okay, so the scouts could possibly have knives and a missile launcher. It's probably the best way to run the scouts. Draxus joins one of the intercessors units. The librarians go with the Reavers. You don't have to cover it, but I thought it would help to make sense of the new detachment. I think the sense it makes for me is like, I just don't see the strength in the new detachment. 830 points in characters is insanity. Like, I've seen a few lists where we're pushing 500-600 points, and I'm like, oh, there's so many points in characters. They don't do that much, you know? But if anyone was struggling to make a list, then this is one that Jack posted. I don't know what else to say. That, like, I just prefer Liberator Assault Group. And I think I think what we're going to see in tonight's army list show is this is the only list that I got submitted for Angelic Inheritors. So no one... A couple of people have played it. I've seen in the Discord a couple of people are playing it. But I don't think it's as strong as Liberator Assault Group. I'm not going to be running it for the tournament that I'm going into January. And... yeah, I mean, like, quirky things. The thing that I saw someone talking about earlier today in Discord was someone said, like, use In the Shadow of Great Wings, right? That's the one where you pick a character unit and you make it that they're untargetable. Someone was saying, like, what about a Tech Marine attached to Devastator squads? I was like, honestly, didn't even... Like, you can attach a Tech Marine to a Devastator squad, but, I mean, it doesn't give them any abilities or anything like that. But it was like, what about a Tech Marine attached to a Devastator squad that sit on, like, your home field objective, so when your opponent targets them, you just go, you can't shoot these guys. And the Devastator squad's, I don't know, 4 las cannons, maybe? You need to have a weapon that's longer than 18 inches, right? Because you'd want to be shooting more than 18 inches away. Sure. I mean, if you want to run some quirky stuff, maybe Angelic Inheritors are better. But yeah, offer, we can trade this Hero Hammer detachment with the Custodes and their awesome Dreadnought detachment. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play this detachment. I think I would have rather had a Dreadnought detachment. You're probably right, PM Covers. What's chat saying? Lamentus says, I feel the buffs from this detachment aren't enough to make me want to run characters. Yeah, I kind of agree. You say you need 1,200-ish points benefiting from the +2/+1 strength to run lag. It's the same here. You need 600 points in characters to warrant in this detachment. Yeah, I mean, I think the difference, though, in lag is any unit can be good, right? Any unit with a melee weapon in Liberator Assault Group can be good. Case in point are, like, company heroes with strength 4, no AP. They can actually be quite good in lag because suddenly they're strength 6 with about 15 attacks. So, I think the additional strength and the additional attacks is just much better than character models reroll hits of 1, which we can kind of do with Oath of Moment and Death Company anyway, and then reroll wounds of 1, which are going to be not that impactful in this attachment, because let's face it, most of the time you're going to be wounding on 5s. And if you're wounding on 5s, rerolling wounds of 1 is statistically worse than just +1 to wound, because it just is. It's just statistically worse. I was trying to explain it. Basically, like, if you reroll 1, you still have to roll a 5 and 6 again. So wounding something on a 4-up is a 50% chance. Wounding something on a 5 with a reroll of 1 is probably... I could do the math. It would be 33%. 1s you would roll 16... and then you would only wound on 5s again. Add that to the original 0.33. So wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s is 38%. So, like, +1 to wound is just typically better most of the time here. So basically having an extra attack and +1 to wound is potentially going to always be better than what this detachment offers. And I guess, like, in Liberator Assault Group, your little units of 5-man jump intercessors, your little units of 3 outriders will actually do a lot of killing. I don't think outriders are maybe good because of the +1 strength, but I think jump assault intercessors are a lot weaker in this detachment, and it's probably like, hey, this list has no jump assault intercessors. I think we can all say that jump assault intercessors are one of the strongest units for Blood Angels and Liberator Assault. Here they are in Angelic Inheritors, and, like, the best Blood Angels player in the world is not taking them. So make of that what you will. That's my opinion. My opinion is sometimes wrong, but that's my opinion. Outriders are good in this detachment, sure, if they're led by a chaplain. The new detachment seems to be looking at character heavy. I've seen multiple 700-point character lists already. You know, when I won the GT in the summer, man, I tried to keep my character cost at around 300. Because characters, you know, if you go back in edition when characters buffed everybody within 6 inches of them, within 12 inches of them. Cool. But this edition, characters literally buff the one unit they're attached to. So, yeah, like I said, when I made the GT winning list, I've only won one GT, but the one that I did win, I kept my character cost to as low as humanly possible. I think it was about 350 points I spent on characters. And I felt that gave me enough to have scoring units, fire support, and all the other good stuff that I have. Alright, let's look on to Crozier. He submitted a Liberator Assault Group list called Shooty Tanks +1 to Wound. So, I guess this is going to be an interesting evening. Can we make Aggressors and Terminators work with this detachment, says Cliff? I think probably they're better. This detachment might be better for Aggressors and Terminators, yes. Because Terminators with +1 reroll of 1s is pretty nice. Terminators with reroll charges is pretty nice. Whether or not you can make it work without spending 700, 800 points on characters, I guess that's the question, right? So we've got a Captain with Rage. We've got a Captain with Gift of Foresight. We've got Librarian with the Speed. And we've got Lieutenant with Phobos. We've got Assault Intercessors and Impulsor, obviously, with the Captain with Rage. We've got 10 Jump Intercessors. We have a Ballistus, a Lancer, 1 squad of Outriders, 1 Predator Destructor, 2 Predator Destructors, Reavers, 10 Terminators, and a Vindicator tank. This is a very, very shooty list. So, a Ballistus, a Gladiator, a Destructor ×2, and a Vindicator tank. How many points is that? 260, about 400. So it's about 700 points in shooting. The idea is that we have a list that survives both threatening at melee and range. The Terminators and the Assault Intercessors and the Rage Captain represent the massive melee threats to more important enemy squads and can benefit from Oath and or Red Rampage, potentially giving 2 of them +1 to wound. Right, so he's got no Blood Angel specific units in this list, so he's going to take that new Oath of Moment that gives +1 to wound on your Oath target, so he's basically got 2 +1 to wounds. That's his plan here. So the Terminators and the Assault Intercessors are both going to take that. The tanks can also be given +1 to wound, especially nice for the Predator, and especially in the first 2 turns when you might not have a target for your melee yet. You represent a serious threat at range. Consider that. Without spending any CP, all your units shooting or attacking with Oath receive +1 to wound. That's massively superior to spending 1 CP for Red Rampage. Yeah, I mean, tanks with +1 to wound is very good, right? Like, Hunter Killer Missiles, that'll be Strength 14 +1 to wound. Las Cannon, Strength 12 +1 to wound. Lancer, Strength 14 +1 to wound. Vindicator, Strength 14 +1 to wound. You know, Space Marines definitely get a lot of value from that +1 to wound. Matthew, thank you for taking your time for your family. Yeah, no, this is the last night, Matthew. I'm taking a couple of weeks off after tonight, so I wanted to cover a few lists before we end for the holidays. Hello, folks. How you doing? Yeah, and everyone in the chat, I hope you all guys have a lovely Christmas. My plan for Christmas Day is I'm going to be playing Skeletrix with my 3-year-old. We've got Spider-Man Skeletrix, so that's what I'll be doing on Christmas Day. It's been a long time since I played Skeletrix on Christmas Day, but I have fond memories of Skeletrix on Christmas Day. And it's his first set, so next year we'll get another set. You know, we'll build it bigger and bigger, and eventually it'll go around the entire living room in like 10 years' time. That's the hope. I think at that point you go Ultramarines and take Gilliman, right? You don't have to. You can take Liberator Assault Group. And I think that's what some people are really wanting to do. They're wanting to play Liberator Assault Group. They're wanting to get the +1 to wound. Would it be good to have a Tech Marine with 3 inches of vehicles and give them the detachment buffs? You know, like when you've got this many vehicles, when you're running 5 vehicles, a Tech Marine is definitely not a bad idea. That's a good point. What's the Lieutenant with Phobos armor with? Oh, Reavers. Okay, he's going to do some Reaver shenanigans. The Chaff units punch really hard because of lag, and the Reaver gimmick is extremely annoying for the opponent. All the while, we have fall back and shoot charge, advanced shoot and charge, so both our tanks and our melee threats are flexible. I played a few matches with this and won every single one so far. The Terminators have been a standout with sustained hits. They're actually half decent at shooting now, too, with Oath of Moment giving them +1 to wound. Alright, yeah. This is an interesting point. If you have 10 Terminators with Librarian, sustained, you give them both the moment to their targets, so they're hitting on 2s, they're rerolling 1s, their shooting's +1 to wound, their combat's +1 to wound. Yeah, I mean, this is a good idea, actually. There might even be a list here where, like, you don't take the 10 block of Terminators and you take 2 5 blocks, or even 3 blocks of 5 Terminators, all led by Librarians and Chaplains, and you get multiple +1 to wounds all over the board. Every unit of Terminators could get +1 to wound because they're led by Chaplains or they're taking the oath. You get the Calidus Assassin. You don't have any scouts, which is a little sad. Based on probably that you've got no scouts, I would probably just swap one of your 10-man Assault Intercessor units. Yeah, because it goes... Literally, you could run this as a 5 and add a squad of scouts. You've got the Impulsor, then you'd have scouts. And then you'd have the Reavers and the Calidus Assassin. It gives you a few more scoring options. So yeah, I mean, it's a decent list. I kind of like it. I think that there's a good point to be made with a list like this. And I know Crozier is a bit of a hardcore Blood Angels guy because he's in a lot of the live streams. He's always chatting. I guess the Blood Angels specific units, right? Give me 1 second just to bring up like the field manual. Like, are any of the Blood Angels specific units an auto take? Right? Astrath, I'd say no. Bal Predators, I'd say no. The Blood Angels Captain, I'd say no. Mephiston is very good, but I wouldn't say he's an auto take because it's a play style. Dante is pretty good, but again, he's not an auto take. None of the Death Company data sheets are auto takes. Lamartez is probably an auto take if you're taking the 10 Death Company with jump packs, but I mean, I don't think Death Company are an auto take at the moment. If anything, Sangre Guard are stronger. So Sangre Guard are the best unit that we have, probably. But they are still very expensive, and they can still die very, very quickly against, like, any weapon that does 3 damage. They just take in shooting, just lift them off the board so quick. The Sanguinary Priest isn't an auto take. The Sanguiner isn't an auto take. So basically, if you don't like Sangre Guard, or you think they're too expensive, which I think even with these 5-point drops, they are super expensive. You know, like I played a game this week against like Forge Fiends, Chaos Forge Fiends, and the Forge Fiends have like, what was it? World Eaters Forge Fiends. He has 3 of them, and each one gets 3 ectoplasm arrays. So statistically against a squad of Sanguinary Guard, they get 9 shots at AP 3 damage, strength 10. And he's got 3 of them, so statistically that's 27. You know, like if you just do the maths on that, that's 27 attacks, hitting on 3s. So that's 17 hits, wounding on 2s. So you got to take 14 saves on your squad of Sanguinary Guard, and every single failed save is a dead model. There is an argument there for, like, are they just super expensive for what you're getting? Because, you know, 400 points of World Eaters can kill 15 Sanguinary Guard a turn. It's pretty rough. It felt pretty rough playing against it, I'll tell you that. So if we can agree that beyond Sanguinary Guard, I would say I don't think there is any auto takes in the Blood Angels Codex right now. There's nothing that stand out auto take. Sanguinary Guard and Dante are the only auto take, really. Yeah. So if we agree that Sanguinary Guard and Dante are probably the only auto take, and they are very expensive, is it... I think it's a totally... Like, if you want to go for the Oath of Moment with a +1 to wound, I think it's a totally valid thing to talk about. Yeah, if 3 Forge Fiends are doing 14.8 damage, then 1 Forge Fiend is statistically killing 5 Sanguinary Guard, right? So maybe you just go Terminators, and maybe you take +1 to wound on your Oath target. And yes, you give up the speed of the Sanguinary Guard, but you still... Blood Angels still have a lot of tools. I mean, you could put Blade Guard into this list. You could easily drop like some of these. You could drop a Predator Destructor. You could probably drop like maybe like the Reavers. Drop the Reavers in the Predator Destructor. You could take an Impulsor full of Blade Guard. Blade Guard with +1 to wound, pretty great. Reroll hits. You know, there's a lot you can do without Blood Angel specific units. So at this point, it comes down to Sanguine Guard or +1 to wound on the Oath targets as VT. Yeah, I think you can go either way. I think I'm probably going to keep Sanguine Guard because I've been practicing playing them for a little while. But I think if I wasn't going to a tournament, I'd be totally willing to try. I like Terminators, man. I played Terminators quite a lot in 9th edition. I just haven't played them yet much in 10th. But a lot of people are getting a lot of value out of Terminators in 10th edition. Yeah, they're very decent. Alright. Agam. I'm not sure how you say this. Agami. Liberator Assault Group. Next list. Astrath, Chaplain on a Bike, Dante, Judasar, Lamartez, Tech Marine. Feels like a lot of characters, but we'll get into it. Assault Intercessors, Assault Centurions, Death Company Dreadnought, Death Company with Jump Packs, Gladiator Lancer, Outriders. Somebody liked the Outrider rule changes. 10 Terminators plus a Librarian are unstoppable. In the +1 to wound detachment or just in general? Sanguine Guard. Okay, interesting. 3 units, small units of Sanguine Guard, 3 units Outriders, the Death Company Dreadnought, the 10 Death Company Marines, Centurions, and a single Lancer. I mean, I guess the single Lancer I don't really love. I've done a video on having a single tank is not that great. And I touched on, like, if you're going to run a Lancer, you probably need to run 2. So I'd probably just instantly lose the Death Company Dreadnought and take a second Lancer in this list. Like, it would just make sense. There could also be an argument for running a Repulsor. It's not the greatest thing, but it would get your Centurions across the board, and Centurions on foot suck. Like, I was using Assault Centurions at the start of the edition. I actually didn't lose a game with them, but they're just... The 4-inch movement, man, is so tragic. So Astros with the 10 Death Company. I mean, it's fine. Lamartez might be slightly stronger. There's a Chaplain with 1 unit of the Outriders. It's fine. I mean, it's maybe a lot better than it was. Outriders do 2 damage. Now they have +1 to wound. Now they have strength 7. The Chaplain on the Bike, I guess, when he is joined by the Outriders, he's not too shabby either, right? Like, we haven't seen too many people run the Chaplain on the Bike. But he has got 6 attacks. And that would be strength 9 on the charge, damage 3. So we don't have any characters really that can do 3 damage. So the Chaplain on a Bike is someone that could do 3 damage. Yes, he only has AP 1. But he does have +1 to wound, so strength 9, +1 to wound, 3 damage. You know, they're probably going to fail at least 1 save against his 6 attacks, so he's probably going to do at least 3 damage, maybe a tiny bit more. A couple of failed saves or a spike of failed saves, he could do a lot. You drop... Oh, this is your list, John. I have dropped the Dread and added Scouts and another Chaplain on a Bike. Well, I like that already because I don't think that there's much to do with the Death Company Dreadnought. I do think if you're going to run fire support, don't run just 1 tank. I think 1 tank is a mistake, just because it'll never kill anything, right? Like 1 tank, you always need to basically be hitting... And there was a whole video I did where I talked about, like, here's the damage from all the individual tanks, and here's the damage if you put 2 tanks, and why you should pretty much always just have 2. So that's a change I would try and make. Centurions on foot, I mean, they're good, but they are slow as crap. If you only have one tank, I wouldn't run a Tech Marine either. I don't think it's worth it. Just because there's a good chance that if you only got one tank, the enemy kill your tank in one turn, and then your Tech Marine's left with nothing to do all game. So I wouldn't run the Tech Marine. Oh, you do have Lamartas. Okay, so hold on. Right. You probably don't want Astrath and Lamartas when you only have one unit of Death Company, because only one of them can lead. Arguably, it should probably be Lamartas, and then Astrath has no one to lead. So you probably have to drop Astrath. So probably drop Astrath in the Tech Marine. That's literally 160 points. It's like a match made in heaven. Put in a second Gladiator Lancer. Chris says that he played Angelic inhibitors yesterday and we won 2 games. I did actually see that, Chris. If you want to, if you could drop your list at some point, Chris, so I can get it. I'm taking a bit of a holiday after tonight, but I wouldn't mind reviewing your Angelic inhibitors list in January if you've got it. Tell me, how many points in characters did you spend? Because the one list that I've seen had like 830 points in characters, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend 830. I don't think Blood Angel's characters are good enough to spend 830 points of characters. Sunsfang says, I'm getting a regular Land Raider eventually. I just got the Crusader kit, was on sale. I was wondering which one was better. The regular one is better. Not many people run the Crusader at the moment, dude, because the Crusader just has bolters. I think if you've got the Crusader kit, you should have all the parts to make the regular one. Like 9. Does the Land Raider it's been I was going to say it's like 10 years, maybe even more years since I bought a Land Raider Crusader. Yeah, do you know what? It's more like 20 years since I bought the Crusader, but I feel like someone will have bought it more recently than me. How do you even get to the shop these days? God, I hate the new website. Here we go. Does it still show the sprues? No, it doesn't show all the sprues. Oh, well, that's a lot of use. The list had 505 points in characters. Well, that sounds a lot more attractive to me than 800 and what did I say? 830 points. Yeah, I'm not gonna run a list that's got 830 points of Blood Angel's characters. The Redeemer is better than the Crusader in the kit. Since it went plastic, it doesn't have the las cannons. Boo. Okay. Astrath can't lead Sangre Guard. Yeah, correct. So you kind of need to address that. But yeah, I think the main issue I'm seeing in your list is like you need one more. You need one more tank. It's good that you added scouts. I just think if you play the Assault Centurions enough times, you're going to come to the same conclusion that I had, which is like with a 4-inch move, they need a transport. It kind of sucks that they need a transport, but I don't really know how you get 4-inch models across the table. Right, the 2 deployment zones are 24 inches apart. If you do not get good advance rolls, it's literally going to take you 4 or 5 turns to get from the very front of your deployment zone to their deployment zone. Yeah, I just always ended up with the Centurions like, oh, I need to make a 9-inch charge on these Centurions because even with the advance and charge, they roll like a 3 and they just don't get across the board. It's like, they're hard to play, man. And don't get me wrong, Centurion's damage output is like, it's literally the best, right? Sustain 2 against monsters and vehicles, it's amazing. You just can't get them. You just can't get them to the unit that you need to do without a transport. I don't know how to get 4-inch move units across the table. A Death Guard player has never felt more understood. Yeah, exactly. I liked the idea in that the Librarian detachment. The Librarian detachment had an ability that was able to make units slower. Do Death Guard still have, they used to have a rule. What was the rule that they used to have where they couldn't be slowed down? Remember that rule? It was called like inexorable advance. They still got that? Because if they don't, I just want to play that Librarian detachment and just make the Death Guard Terminators move 2 inches and have fun with that. Okay, Justin March. He's playing Liberator Assault Group. He has a captain, a chaplain with Speed of the Primarch, and Dante. 2 units of Jump Intercessors, a unit of Blade Guard, a unit of Infiltrators, 2 Repulsor Executioners. God, we don't really see many people take the Executioner. 12 Sangre Guard in a 6-3-3 configuration. 2 squads of Scouts. 5 Stern Guard, interesting. The game plan is use one of the Repulsor Executioners to carry my chaplain with Speed of the Primarch and soften up whatever I wish to throw them into. And of course the same... Oh, right. So I think he's Speed of the Primarch, Blade Guard Veterans inside an Executioner. I haven't seen anyone do that, so that's cool. I plan on using Oath on a target, and the captain with the Sangre... captain with the Stern Guard... Charge, shoot, just because their ability makes Rage-Fueled Warrior way more reliable. Oh, right, by attach... Oh, that's interesting. That's something that no one's done, right? And this is kind of why we do the Army List show, to get the combos that no one's done. I'm surprised that no one's actually mentioned this to me in chat, because usually you guys are on top of everything. So, what he's doing is he's attaching the captain to the raid... Sorry, the captain with Rage Fueled, rather than go with Assault Intercessors, is going to go with Stern Guard. Because then you could just reroll your wounds all the time. You don't need to be on an objective or anything like that. It's just like you just reroll all your wounds all the time. You can fight anywhere you want. So the Stern Guard actually with that captain, and the fact that the Stern Guard already get like devastating wound, not bolt. Oh, their bolt pistols have devastating wounds as well. I didn't realise that. Their Stern Guard rifles get like 3 shots and devastating wounds. So okay, so we get 2 Executioners. The main guns of the tanks are going into vehicles, yes. The 2 small Sangre Guard are for rapid ingress. The jump pack units are, I guess, for doing jump pack unit things, and scouts are for doing scout things. Infiltrators never leave the home objective, unless the game's gone really badly. Dante and the full Sangre Guard are there to destroy warlords and friends, or another unit will be super hard to remove from the board. I would love to hear your thoughts on the list. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Normally I would say Repulsor Executioners are overcosted at 220 points. The Repulsor Executioner has a heavy on that laser cannon, but you kind of want to stay still because if you move, then you only hit on 3s. And I tried playing the Executioner a couple of times and found one Executioner wasn't that great because you kind of want to remain still to get the 2+ to hit on the Laser Destroyer. It's not as reliable as a Gladiator because the Gladiator gets the free reroll 1s to wound, reroll 1s to hit. The Executioner's special ability is a little bit... it's a little bit weird, right? Like, each time a model makes an attack, if the target is below half strength, so when you almost kill something, you get +1 to hit. So later in the game, I guess, you can get +1 to hit on a lot of your chaff weapons, because you can have defensive arrays, you can have stubbers, you can have heavy bolters, you can have rocket pods, you can have all this nonsense. They are expensive, 220 points. Typically, I'd probably say I prefer a Land Raider, but I guess now they have had their transport increased to 7. So I guess at least that gives you the option of like character plus Blade Guard. So Blade Guard in a toughness 12, 16 wound. The Executioner Cannon is deadly. In fact, I mean, the Executioner Cannon is literally the best gun that Space Marines get, right? D6 +4, strength 14, AP 4. Like, this is the best gun that Marines have access to. So by having 2 Executioners, I guess you get 4 shots, which adds in a bit of reliability. You know, a single failed save can do 10 wounds. It's not too bad, right? Blade Guard in 1, Rage Fueled Captain the other, couple of squads of Scouts, couple of squads of Jump Intercessors, squad of Infiltrators, 3 squads of Sangre Guard. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I'm trying to decide, because obviously, like, my list uses a couple of impulsors. 2 impulsors are like 160 points. But then if I want to take fire support, I'm going to spend like 400 more points on fire support. You know, like a Destructor, a Ballistus, a Vindicator, that's like 425 points. So you put that all together, you're like 560 points. So this way he's trying to do that cheaper by just going like, my Repulsor Executioners are essentially my fire support and my impulsors. And that gives me 130 odd points, which means I can have an extra squad of scouts. I can upgrade those assault intercessors to Stern Guard. Obviously, maybe something else, right? That 3rd squad of Sanguinary Guard. I don't like this at all. Sorry, I don't like it at all. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. I think it's decent. I would play it. I just don't own 2 Executioners, so I can't really give my feedback. When I tried playing 1 Executioner, I found it quite hard. Because people would try and move... Like, people are aware of the power of the Executioner, so people would not give me firing solutions. You know, like, they would keep stuff behind terrain, so that it was hard to me to get line of sight with my Executioners. Or my single Executioner. I guess having 2 makes it a little bit more interesting. And you're also going to be going a bit aggressive with those Executioners, because you're going to want to get forward to get the units disembarked, right? I'm the only one who finds Dante overrated. I feel like a captain or a chaplain with rage is much better and cheaper. I think the strength of Dante is you can use your Oath of Moment target somewhere else, Rick. I did do a video a few months ago. I cannot remember the name of the video. Where I basically compared like Dante... I compared Dante and his like damage breakdown against like the captain. I think it was the video where I compared Sanguinary Guard swords to spears. I think it was this slide here specifically, where it was like Dante plus Lance plus Lethals, which is like Weapon Skill 2, 30 Strength 8 Attacks AP 3, Captain plus Lance plus Lethals, Weapon Skill 3, 30 Attacks at Strength 9 AP 3, and you can see here that like Dante's unit will do more damage in every situation because you're hitting more. And that's before you factor in the Dante has like a 10 attack or 9 attack Power Fist with AP 3 as well. So Dante's +1 to hit is very good. It lets you use Oath of Moments somewhere else. But Dante's Battle Shock ability is kind of too unreliable. And his pistol is too unreliable. So you're basically taking him for his +1 to hit, right? Oh, and his +1 to charge sometimes will help you like a charge you will fail. Sometimes you won't fail it because Dante gives you +1, right? So I think he's good, but is he worth 40 odd points over a captain? Hard to say. But he does also not need your Oath of Moment, and there's some value in not needing your Oath of Moment on his squad, because it means that another squad that might normally not do that much killing can get Oath of Moment and become killing, or become killy, right? So Dante roll 3 6s in a row for his pistol yesterday. I mean, I think I've done sustained hits on Dante's pistol like twice in a year, so it does happen, but it happens so infrequently that most of the time his pistol just feels like dog shit. Okay, John Muscasis. Alright. Captain of the Jump Pack, Chief Mephiston, Dante, a Phobos Lieutenant with Icon of the Angel, and the Sanguiner. I'm not sure I think there's any value in Icon of the Angel. There's very low value. Squad of Intercessors, 2 units of jump intercessors, a ball predator, 2 ballistic dreadnoughts, a squad of reavers, 2 6-man squads of sanguinary guard, a squad of scouts. I've tried to get reavers involved and found Icon to be quite funny on the lieutenant. The sanguinary is definitely a maybe. Would love to hear your thoughts. I also don't know if infiltrators are a must take anymore with the deep strike changes, so I wanted to try the buffed intercessors. I think infiltrators are potentially still a must take, right? Like, I played against Chaos Terminators this week. Not Chaos Terminator, sorry. I played against World Eaters that had 2 10-man squads of Chaos Terminators in reserve this week. I don't really want 10 Chaos Terminators dropping down in my backfield. So I still think infiltrators are pretty important. I think intercessors are better now. I like they got some more shots. I just don't think I'm feeling like... I don't feel like I'm feeling like there's a hole in my list that I'm like, you know, because I feel like I want to keep the infiltrators because I like my backfield to be super secure. And I don't think there's another unit that I'm like, I don't like this other unit, let me get rid of them for intercessors. Like, it just doesn't seem to be something that I'm just not excited about it. Like, it's literally bolt rifles. Again, like, something to be said about, like, bolt rifles and a bit with that Angelic inhibitors detachment is, like, you are only strength 4. So there's only so much you can do with strength 4 weaponry, right? Foz has swapped in a Sisters of Battle squad just for the sticky objectives, Foz, or for some other reason that I'm not aware of. Yeah, so we've got 93 people watching. We have 42 likes, guys. If you got 2 seconds on tonight's stream, it would be very much appreciated if you could hit the like button. I would appreciate that. All right, 2 units of jump intercessors, a single ball, double ballistas. Who's leading the Sanguinary Guard squad here? A captain with fight first, Dante. I feel like the Sanguinor might be better. Like, do we need the Sanguinor in here as well? We already have Mephiston who can do lone operative stuff. I might prefer, like, I don't feel confident enough to take intercessors anymore.
I have awoken.
Hey Eddie, thanks so much for becoming a member. I do appreciate it. Hey, anyone that just heard that I have awoken, was it a lower volume tonight? Because I tried to turn it down because people said on the other night's stream it was obnoxiously loud. I don't think I hear the volume of the stream the same as the volume you guys hear it is. Yeah, it was a lot quieter. Like, could it go quieter still? Like, how much more quiet could it go? Like, could I half it again? It's fine. Volume is fine. Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. I want to know how, if there's lots of gifted subs. Do you know how to do that? Like, if anyone that's got a channel that gets lots of gifted subs, do you know how to get it to not spam it like 20 times? Because I don't know how to do that. That's what I was looking into. Not that I get 20 gifted subs that often. It's Christmas. Someone was very nice to me. Aradine, in fact. Okay. I mean, I like 2 units of Sanguinary Guard. I like the idea about the 10 Reavers. I do think they're kind of expensive for what they bring, right? Like, 235 points. They're only bringing strength 4 attacks. That sound is made every time someone subs. Yeah, every time someone subs or every time there's a gifted membership. I don't know how to make it only play once for like 10 gifted. I guess that's what I need to find out. I'm sure like Valrak's stream doesn't do that, right? Aradine, you've been lurking, man. How you doing? Someone was super upset that you gave 20 gifted subs in the Angelic inhibitor video. They're like, I got like 2 negative YouTube comments. Or someone's going to be upset in the comments as well. Ryan coming in with the super chat. Guys, that's very generous. Thank you.
I have awoken.
Yeah, 235 points of Reavers. Who's been playing the Reavers with the Lieutenant? How have you been finding them?
I have awoken.
I used an all jump pack list today against Custos and went very well. I lost by like 5 points because of a stupid mistake, but it was great. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I need to try the Reavers. After I go to the GT in January, I will put 5 more Reavers on the painting table because I've got 5 that I was painting at the moment. Has anyone in chat run the 10 Reavers with Lieutenant? How did you find it?
I have awoken.
I like this guy's list name. I need to update mine. Bal Secundi's Nuts.
I have awoken.
I did see that when I was copying the list. I was like, oh, very funny. Yeah, do you know what? I feel like I'm not super sold on the Sanguinar here. I might be sold on a second unit of Scouts or some Outriders. I might also be sold on the Infiltrators because I just think they are still good. Zachary says, I love the 3d6 charge out of Deep Strike. Yeah. Oh, so they're not survivable, but I mean, no Marines and T4 3-up save are pretty survivable these days, right? Like, it's just like a general weakness. Thank you so much for subscribing, Achilles. That was noticeably louder. Okay, so I've managed to make gifted subs quieter, but I've left regular subscriptions loud. Okay, I'll figure that. I'll figure that out. Okay. I think you should work as a 5-man with the Lieutenant to steal the objective. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way you would play them. The trick is obviously being able to deep strike them where you need to deep strike them, right? Because they do still have a footprint. The opponent can still screen them. Hello, Oddsod. I think one other thing to touch on is like 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts it's fine. But I ran 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts a few weeks back, and I feel like it's just not quite enough fire support for it to be super effective. It feels okay, but I felt like in the games that I ran 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, I just was like, I felt like didn't have enough fire support. Like, it's 4 las cannons, alright, you hit 3 or 4 times, you wound a couple of times, they fail a save or 2. You roll some average damage. The 4 las cannons do like 6 or 7 damage to enemy armor. The missiles do a little bit less. So it felt like 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, even with Oath of Moment, for me personally, just wasn't enough damage. So maybe in this list, I'd be like, let's get rid of the Sanguinar. Let's add something else that can shoot. Or let's make these Reavers a 5-man and add something that can shoot. And let's consider getting Infiltrators back. Just because... Do you know what? We'll do a quick poll. Let's do a poll. Let's do who's taking it. Who's still taking Infiltrators? Yes, no. Nice and simple. I feel like I'm still taking them. Well, I know I am. I'm going to a tournament in January. I'm still taking them. Vindicators are very meta at the moment. They're very popular. I think Vindicators are crazy good with that detachment that gives you, or with the new Oath of Moment, right? Strength 14 with +1 to wound and your Oath target is just, it's just crazy. It's crazy good. Alright, I'll leave the poll to run for like 2 more minutes. Let's move on to list number 5 for tonight, I think. Maybe it's number 6. Alright, so this is called Out Fishing, and it's a Lost Brethren list. We don't see those very often, so it's going to be all Death Company and Chaplains. So Lamartis, Astaroth, Chaplain on foot, Chaplain on foot, Chaplain of the Jump Pack. Death Company Marines on foot ×2 and a squad of Intercessors. 2 Impulsors. Death Company Dreadnought. 3 units of Death Company Jump. 2 10s and a 5. That'll be 10 for Astaroth, 10 for Lamartis. Squad of Outriders. And 2 Meltagun Armigers. Okay, this is a crazy list. Who submitted this? Bentley. He really wanted to try the Death Company detachment. Okay. 2 Armigers is fine. Gives you a little bit of like anti-tank. Outriders are still strength 5, AP 2. 2 Impulsors. Quite a lot of unit of Jump Death Company. The Death Company Dreadnought, I'm like, I can take it or leave it. Intercessors, well, we just talked about it in chat, and apparently 62% of people still think Infiltrators are worth taking, so that's probably a little bit less than I thought. 6 out of 10 people. Yeah, I imagine that's a little bit less than I imagined. Yeah, the one thing that I think that you're missing here is scoring units, right? Like, there's no scouts. Scouts are ridiculously good at scoring points. The 3 units of Jump Death Company, you're not going to want to do actions on the 2 big ones. So yeah, I think if this was me, I'd probably lose the Death Company Dreadnought. I'd probably put in like a unit of Jump Intercessors, and I'd probably put in a unit of Scouts. That's basically the same points, right? Jump Intercessors 90, Scouts are 70. So we could take that, maybe you have 20 points left over, throw an enhancement on one of these chaplains. There's a chaplain with a jump pack, so you're not going to want to do all 3 of these units of characters attached. You're not going to want to be doing actions on those. So I just feel like a unit of scouts and a unit of jump intercessors. I mean, you could even be an argument for 2 units of scouts here, but yeah, and then there also could be an argument for infiltrators. Your Death Company detachment, you're going to be throwing everything forward. Your backfield's going to be open. Intercessors are not going to be able to hold the backfield by themselves. Oh, the enhancements are all for captains and stupidly not for chaplains. A good point, Highland Phoenix. Apparently Games Workshop need to give you a job, Highland Phoenix, and then you can keep them right when they make stupid decisions for the data sheets inside the codex, right? I found the lieutenant or the lieutenant with the combi weapon is a good scoring option now. 70 points, just like scouts. He is the lone operative, so he's a bit safer. Yeah, I mean he is a good choice. He was a good choice anyway, even before the scouts went up to 70 points. The person who wins is the one who made the least mistake. Infiltrators take your mind off of deep strikes. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. Infiltrators do just save on your cognitive load, right? You spread out your infiltrators, they're in the backfield, you don't need to worry about them, you don't need to worry about your backfield. Sometimes 20 points spent like that can be well worth it. They may have realised that captains suck, and they prop them up in the Death Company detachment. I don't know, I just think the Death Company detachment was not well thought out, right? It's like, they get the Death Company data sheets, the Death Company captain data sheets are just filler data sheets. I don't think anyone really... I think probably objectively they're worse than the regular captains. both of them are probably worse than the regular captains. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an okay detachment, or I think it's an okay list, but I think I would probably do something like infiltrators, scouts, jump assault, intercessors, lose the Death Company, dread. I think that would be stronger. I think you'd probably score more points doing that, and that would round it up nicely to 2,000, right? Okay. What's your opinion about 5 jump Death Company with a captain that's sustained? Is it not worth it? I don't think 5 jump... Excuse me. I don't think 5 Death Company is good anymore. It was good, like, in the summer, before they took away all the Infernal Pistols and Power Fists. It was really good. It was more expensive then, but it was still really good, because they did a really big amount of killing. And now they do a very average amount of killing for the points that you spend on them. And... I mean, they don't have a lot of survivability, right? The reason that they were good before was they usually killed whatever they charge. You know, if you gave the chaplain a power fist, you basically had 25 power fists with +1 to wound at strength 10 with reroll hits. That pretty much killed anything that you pointed at. Sure, maybe if you point at a Land Raider, you don't kill a Land Raider, but like, if you pointed at an Armiger, I feel like that it would be like 25 attacks. So it gives you 22 hits. Strength 10 +1 to wound. So an Armiger needs to take 14 saves. Alright, well, they save on 5s. So they save... so like they would statistically do 19 damage to an Armiger, right? So the reason 5 Death Company with the Chaplain in the summer was really good was... They still had shit survivability, because Toughness 4 Marines with a 3-up save, that is actually kind of like quote-unquote shit survivability. It's not great, right? When anyone looks at them with any kind of decent weapon, they just start dying. But it was fine, because before you could just jump in behind a wall, kill an Armiger, your guys are behind the wall, so other Armigers can't shoot them. Next turn, you will jump in, kill another Armiger, go on and so forth. And that was what made them really, really strong. They removed half their weapons, right? So, like... they basically halved their damage. And then they took their pistols away, and the pistols would have been good for some more damage on top of that. So now they statistically don't kill stuff. And then they just die very, very quickly. So I'm... If you're trying to spend like 200 points on a jump unit, I think your choices are probably 3 Sangre Guard plus a character, or maybe 10 Jump Intercessors. I wouldn't run 5 Death Company. I tried running it in 2 or 3 games, and it just underperformed every single time. And once you've played something 2 or 3 times, you kind of get a feel for them. It's just like, okay, so Death Company's damage output is just miles worse than it was before. And then they always get, you know... I played against Thousand Suns a few weeks ago, and I think probably, like, I don't know the profile of Vortex Beast off the top of my head, but I think that was just the thing, right? Like, if I charged a Vortex Beast with those 25 Power Fists, I would say that, like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they just flat out kill it. Yeah, 13 wounds at toughness 10, 25 Power Fists, 100% kill this thing. Because they no longer kill it, this thing gets to attack back. What's this thing got in melee? It can have 51 damage attacks, or it can have 5, strength 9, -2, 4 damage. So, like, if we go back to the summer, 5 Death Company and the Chaplain, just pick this thing up. You don't have to worry about them fighting back, it's fucking dead. It's dead statistically every single time. Now, you end up leaving it on, like, a handful of wounds, and it swings back and it kills half your Death Company. If it hits a little bit, if it spikes a little bit high, it kills like most of the Death Company. It's really tough to play 5 Death Company now. 130 points, I'm just not interested in them. Maybe it's different for you, but I was running them all summer. 5 Death Company with a Chaplain. I ran 2 in my tournament winning list. I don't think the Chaplains had anything in my tournament winning list. It was just a Chaplain with a Power Fist. I gave up their Bolt Pistol for a Power Fist. So it was just 2 squads. Losing the AP from the Sanguinary Priest on jump packs really made the Assault jump intercessors much weaker as well. Yeah, you're probably right, Rick. Robert says, I'm just learning as I'm planning on starting Blood Angels in the new year after playing Necrons and Scythe. Just wanted to say thank you for your tips and wish you a chat. Merry Christmas. Robert, welcome. Robert is a very popular name in my family, actually. My granda, my dad, me, and my son all have Robert as the middle name. Welcome to the... or do you like Bobby? That's why I didn't name my son's first name Bob, because everyone in Scotland, everyone calls Roberts Bobby. Bobby! How many points do you think Sanguinary Guard and Death Company need to go down? I think Death Company... The difference between Jump Death Company and Jump Intercessors now... it's hard to say. It's 130 for 5. I think the tricky thing is they just don't kill what they used to, right? So, like, for me, if you drop them 10 points, I'm probably still not taking them. Because they probably still jump in. They don't kill the Vortex Beast. Like I just used as an example, the Vortex Beast swings back and I lost half my squad. So I just think they've gone from being, like, super optimal, because they used to just be able to kill stuff. Like, if you pointed at them at the right target, they just killed it. And they just can't do that anymore. So that's why I guess some people use the 10 Death Company with Lamartez, and I think that's the best way to play them now. And I just don't know if dropping the 5 by any amount of points... Like, they're never going to make them as cheap as Jump Assault Intercessors, right? And even if they were as cheap as Jump Assault... Yeah. It's a tough one, especially considering they need to be led to have OC. It's a really tough... You're basically paying 40 points for a Power Fist and Eviscerator and reroll hits, but then you have to give up potentially 5 mortal wounds because of the Jump Intercessor's ability. It's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know what points they would need to be, but 40 points more than Jump Intercessors makes me just not that interested in them. I mean, I guess that's why some people are starting to go for that Oath of Moment with the +1 to wound, right? Because people don't, like I said, there's not... It's a pretty sad state of affairs that Blood Angels Codex just came out and, like, people are already at a point where, like, I don't want to use any Blood Angels units. Like, it's not a great place for your Codex to be, is it? I don't know. Like, you guys in chat are making me spiral. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be, you know, it's Christmas. We just got our Codex. We should all be happy. But yeah, do you know what? Leave Death Company at the points they are and give them a 5-up Feel No Pain. And then I could consider playing them, yeah. Because their problem is not... Like, their killing is okay, but they just die way too friggin' fast for what the points you pay for them. Sybarite is quite happy with the Codex. Yeah, I mean, I think I am happy-ish with the Codex. But yeah, no, it's a little sad that, like, some people are obviously not happy because, like, they're just not running the Blood Angel specific units. Alright, we're looking at Gar Tenzing. This is a Liberator Assault group. Surprise, surprise, we did 6 Liberator Assault group lists again this week. Oh no, we didn't. I lie. We did 5. We did get 1 Lost Brethren list. So, hats off to the guy that submitted the Lost Brethren list, keeping it fresh in the stream. I do appreciate it. Alright, Captain with Rage. Chaplain with Speed of the Primarch. I mean, these two are like staples on so many lists. Chaplain with Terminator, Dante, and Lamartas. Assault Intercessors, Double Impulsor, Double Ballistas, Blade Guard, the 10 Death Company with Lamartas, the squad of Outriders, the 6 Sanguinary Guard with Dante, the squad of Scouts, and the Terminators. The Terminators led by the Chaplain. So it's a very killy list. Maybe it's a tiny bit shy on fire support. Maybe it's a tiny bit shy on scoring units. Not as much fire support as I like. Just the 2 ballistas. Sacrificed 1 for the action monkeys, Outriders and Scouts. Captains with Assault Intercessors and the Impulsor. Blade Guard with Fight First Chaplain in the other. Terminators to ingress near the center. Death Company and Sanguinary Guard will do their thing. Can have the Death Company, Assault Intercessor, Sandguard, and Blade Guard act freely without Oath of Moment. Ballistas and Terminis to take out Oath target each turn. Yeah, of course, the Terminators get +1 to hit when they go into their Oath target. We're still a really strong faction. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're too bad. It's just a little bit sad that obviously, like, some people are just not interested in our... In a way, I'm affected by it, right? Like, I do think that whatever it is, like, the Death Company Captain, I've got no interest. Death Company Captain on the Jump Pack, no interest. Death Company Dreadnought, no interest. Death Company on Foot, no interest. Death Company with Bolt Rifles, no interest. Death Company with Jump Packs, no interest. And by that point, if I've got no Death Company, then Astaroth and Lamartes have no interest to me as well. The Sanguinary Priest on Foot has no interest to me. So, yeah, and the Blood Angels Captain can have no interest as well. So, I guess I'm in... I don't know. 70% of the Codex is like... has very little interest. So, complain or not complain about it, it is what it is, I guess. This is a decent list, though, right? Like, the Captain with Rage is fine. Assault Intercessors, Impulsor is good. The Chaplain with Fight First, Impulsor, Blade Guard is good. 2 Ballisterous Dreadnoughts is, like, the bare minimum fire support. It's nice and cheap. 10 Death Company with Lamartes is good. Unit of Outriders is useful. Dante with Sanguinary Guard is useful. The squad of Scouts, actually, these are 70 points now, so maybe he has to tweak something here to make this list work, actually, because the Scouts have gone up 5 points. So maybe he's going to have to make a tweak here. But yeah, like, if you want to be strong as Blood Angels, you probably want like 3 or 4 good combat units, right? So in this list, you've got your Terminator unit, you've got Terminator units led by Chaplain, Sanguinary Guard led by Dante, 10 Death Company led by Lamartes, 6 Blade Guard led by the Chaplain, and then the Assault Intercessors led by the Captain. So arguably he's got like 5 really good combat units. You've got the couple of Ballistas Dreadnoughts, and then you've got a few units that can do scoring options, the Impulsors, the Scouts, the Outriders. Like, it's a bare sort of minimum what you can get out of those. I think that 5 units... I think 5 units that can do scoring is probably the ideal amount. I was trying to do it with 4, and I was actually struggling a little bit. Look at the damage output of 3 Outriders in lag with the new Oath. I mean, I've been playing Outriders all summer, man. I thought Outriders were already kind of comparable to Jump Assault Intercessors, but I guess they are even better now. The OC of Outriders is nice. The extra toughness is also nice, especially if you're playing something like Chaos Knights and they're just indirect firing your army the whole game. That toughness 5 does actually become quite meaningful, because it's the difference between wounding on 3s and wounding on 4s for all their nonsense and direct fire. 3 units of 3 Outriders is 240 points. It's like 10 Death Company with jump packs. And everybody gets a 2 damage weapon, and everybody gets 5 attacks on the charge. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Outriders obviously have to go round terrain and stuff like that, but yeah. I think, like, one way to look at Liberator Assault Group is like 2 or 3 units of fire support, 4 units of really good combat, 4 or 5 units of really good scouting. This list kind of has it all. Gartenzing's actually in the chat. I would probably drop Death Company after the data slate, so some space opened up for firepower. If you were going to drop the Death Company and Lamarta's Gartenzing, you could probably do something like a couple of those 3-man squads of Sangre Guard. If you did a 3-man squad of Sangre Guard for 130 points, you would save 110 and Lamarta's, so you'd have 220. So yeah, you could definitely add like another fire support unit. You could almost add like another action monkey unit. I feel like there's definitely something to be said for that. And yeah, Lamarta's plus 10 Death Company is good. I just don't run it anymore because it was the only choice for... or it was one of the main choices for the first year. And I got a little bit bored. Well, the one thing about scoring units now is every Blood Angels unit that is a scoring unit, for example, scouts, are pretty useful now. With scouts, you should give everybody knives, bar one guy with a missile launcher, and the knives have AP, and it's all good. But I mean, this list isn't actually a million miles. Like, if you drop Lamartez, this isn't a million miles from what I'm running at the moment. You know, I'm running a chaplain with speed. I'm running a captain. I'm running Dante, and then I'm actually running a captain with Gift of Foresight and a Thunderhammer attached to a small unit of Sangre Guard. So, I think I had more success with the list that I was running when I had one Impulsor. Which is weird, because I thought that having 2 Impulsors with 2 combat units inside would actually be stronger than just the one. But maybe it is stronger. Maybe I just haven't had the right games or haven't played well enough. I know this week past I made a bunch of mistakes. Sometimes that happens, you know. If you're playing an army you're not super familiar with, sometimes mistakes do happen. So, but yeah, like, when I make a mistake on stream, I kind of want to live with it so that I know not to make that mistake again. And like I said at the end of the game when Andrew beat me, that's twice in a row he's beat me with the damn World Eaters. I'm glad that he's beat me twice, actually, because if I play him at the tournament now, there's no way he's beaten me 3 times in a row. So I'll beat his World Eaters at the tournament when it actually matters, and he can beat me all he wants on stream, I guess. So cool. Well, that is it for tonight, I think. We looked at like 6 or 7 lists. If you want to get your list on the show in the new year, the way to do that would be after this stream ends. Put your list as a comment, same as the list we've been looking at all night, into the comment section of the video. If you could like the video before you leave, it would mean ever so much to me as well. I hope you guys all have a great holiday, whatever you're going to do with your family. I am probably going to go and play God of War Ragnarok, because I just started that. And it seems like it's really good, and I can't play it in front of my kids because there's a lot of swearing in that game, apparently. So, I hope you guys have a great evening. Gulkanane, dude, thank you so much for the gifted subs. It's been a crazy night of gifting tonight. 20 gifted memberships tonight. Thank you ever so much. I'll probably be live maybe one time before the 31st, but if not, I will be here for a New Year's stream with my friends from the Grots. I'm not going out, so my wife's probably going to be in here. She's probably going to be playing World of Warcraft and giving me snarky comments about why World of Warcraft is better than Warhammer. But I'll be here probably for a few drinks on the 31st. So if you want to join us then, by all means. Thank you all ever so much for the support this year. Thank you for every super chat, every gifted sub, every like, everyone that's watched. I mean, the channel has been amazing this year, honestly. I feel very blessed. Not just for the channel, but also just like for the Blood Angels community. It's 99.9% positive. So very, very much appreciate it.
I
So,
have awoken.
have a great week. Hope you all spend time with your family. Hope everybody is healthy. I'll see you guys in like 10 days time or something. But you know what? I'm probably gonna paint one night. So I'll probably see you guys at some point. But nothing scheduled. It's just gonna be random for like the next 10 days. So
I have awoken.
alright. Have a great evening. Thanks for watching. Peace. Merry Christmas. Leave your list. We'll be back. Next Army List show is gonna be January the
I have awoken.
12th. So we're going to take a 2-week break. So if you do like the Army List show, we'll be back on the 12th. Have a great evening. Thanks so much for everything. Very much appreciated. Good night. Peace.
I have awoken.